Hey, what's up, guys? This is Landscaping to the Point with our special host, JC, off to the bottom down there. He's down at the bottom today, and Josh over to the left of me. So, hope
I'm a
you
top.
guys are listening. We got some great stuff to talk about. In this episode, I think we stopped where we were last week, but I want to get more into if, well, really, have you guys ever bought followers? That's kind of more of I know there's people all out there. I mean, at least once a month, I'm getting a text or an email from somebody like, "Hey, you want to grow your following on YouTube or on your socials? I can get you 100K in literally 5 minutes." So, would you ever buy any, or have you ever bought any? I think that's one of our main questions here because I've seen people buy them. So,
Well, for everyone that's listening, I pay Scott $30 a month just for him to be my friend. So,
that's all right. We accept $30.
um, I think people do that, and I don't know what the end goal of that is because it's just something I don't understand. I guess if you're trying to build up your platform, your Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is that you do on social media, and it's based off a certain subject or a business, it would be more meaningful, I would think, and more common sense for me to think that you'd want to engage people that are actually interested in what you're putting out there, as opposed to having numbers. Now, I think the mindset behind it is individuals who are seeking attention from maybe companies for sponsorships or to be sent certain products, whatnot. But a lot of bot accounts, I don't understand why anybody would want those on your accounts. And also too, the engagement. It's not about how many followers you have. It's more about like what engagement you have on the posts that you're putting up, comments, likes, your stories, feedback, direct messages, that interaction with that community, whatever community it is that you're a part of. Just having dialogue with people that are like-minded. You're not going to get that with the followers that you're purchasing. And honestly, I don't understand how it works, and I don't want to know how it works.
Let's see. What do you think, Josh? I mean,
Um, have I no? Would I don't know. I guess it would depend on the reasoning behind it. Like there's a lot of bots that are on IG. Like I know like on my IG, for instance, like I open like right now my IG is public. And the reason why it's public is like I wanted to tag Milton Caterpillar in a post for the skid steer, but because they didn't follow me, I couldn't tag them to a private profile. And when I open that, I don't know if there's a setting where when you're public, people still have to request you, but I get a lot of bot followers every time I do that. Like I'll end up closing it up again, and then I'll be good. But um, I think what JC said right. I think a lot of it comes back to these brands make you have rather than looking at the quality of your content, right, and the legitimacy of what you're doing, they look at that number in the top corner, right? And for instance, like with Gravely, I had reached out to Gravely after I joined the E&B program, thinking, all right, everybody was doing Gravely. Let me go try to jump on this Gravely train. Gravely should have said, you don't got 10K, we don't even look at you. And a few other brands that I know. Just speaking to other guys were the same way. It was 10,000. It's hard to get to 10,000. Like I don't even think I have 2,000 across my IG and my TikTok. But I think it has its value. Not a value. I think if you're trying to get to the point where you can get the recognition by being with the brand, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, authenticity of it, people are going to know if you have, 20,000 followers and one person comments on your post or you got like 5 likes. We had a guy in one of the group we're associated with, it had almost 1 million and, 4 likes, 4 comments. I mean, it shows itself, but I don't know. I guess there's a reason behind it, you know. I mean, people do it for a popularity contest. I think some people will do it just to get to that point where they can get to that 10,000 followers. They can then get their recognition on a wider scale, and then maybe get some authenticity throughout their followers. But yeah, I don't know.
So if you're out there and you want to grow, but let's say how do you come up with some great content that, somebody's going to follow, so where you're going to get people to follow you that you want to follow you? I mean, I'm more looking at it, I'm the kind of the same way with you guys. I don't have a crap load of followers. Maybe someday there'll be like 10 million people that follow us because of the podcast. I mean, it's growing daily, but I'd like to see it continue to grow. And I want people to actually follow the right stuff and not come up with, just because I want to get out there and grow those numbers.
I want to jump on that one. Um, that like that's almost like a loaded question, because you think that you produce like this great in-depth content that really has like meaning to it, and you post that shit and it gets nothing. But then you look at the guy that's going back and forth just making stripes in the lawn, and it'll get fucking a million views. It's just like I'm always dumbfounded by that. And maybe sometimes it's just the simplicity of someone sitting down in their chair looking at their phone and saying, I just worked 12 hours. I don't want to sit down and listen to this dude fucking yip yap about like the ins and outs of business and shit. You just want that instant gratification where it's like seeing something so quick to, like, I mean, dude, I like the plowing videos. It's the same thing. Like, I make fun of guys that watch mowing videos, but then I said they don't watch a loader and a truck go back and forth at times. So, I mean, dude, honestly, like, I just like my posts come out, I just post whatever. There's no meaning. Like, I don't have an algorithm or a schedule, content calendar for my page. I just post whatever. Like, if you look at my IG, you'll see there'll be something about art, there'll be something about mental health, there'll be something about my kids, there'll be something about sports, there'll be something about Echo Means Business. I just post what I like. That's the stuff I like. I
Yeah,
guess if you have that drive and you know what you're gonna do, like your page is devoted to lawn care, then yeah, you post about that and you dive into it, and then you buy a million followers.
purchase, spend the money. No, I think also too, like people struggle with the question, like how do I build a bigger following, and how do I we live in a society where people want instant results, and a lot of it takes time. People expect engagement but won't give engagement. You have to give engagement to get engagement. And part of that is like you could sit down, put posts up all you want and hope that people are going to follow you. But if you're not interacting with other accounts, write a comment on somebody else's page, like somebody else's photo, repost somebody else's story. Like if you put in some more work like that and you're not just sitting around expecting people to come to you, you have to kind of reach out to them as well too. And in turn, they follow you. And I think also too, some of the bigger companies may be starting to realize that it's not all about having big numbers. I mean, some of them, most of them still do think that way, but think about it this way: for Equip Expo or GIE, whatever it is, there's like a select few people that have engagement in our green industry that will all go down there. And for the most part, everybody recognizes everybody down there. And if you follow so-and-so's account, if I follow Josh's account, if I follow Scott's account, well, whatever company is following Scott may see that I'm interacting with Scott and may, in theory, follow me, and vice versa with Josh. He's commenting on some of my posts, and, Gravely, I'm just using that as an example, sees that Josh is commenting on my posts and Gravely follows me, then you may have a better chance of getting having your page built, or gaining more followers and more genuine followers in that sense, as opposed to buying followers and those people not having any ties to the green industry. And that way a company's not going to want to sponsor you if you have 50,000 followers that are not related to the green industry whatsoever. Like, they're not going to be able to sell products to these people that are following you or promote their items. Maybe you'll have a few handful, but if they're bot accounts, it's just basically you have a number on your page that looks big, but there's no meaning. It's meaningless.
Let me just I just Googled how much it costs to buy social media followers. And from buzzinglikes.com, it's saying $13 per 1,000 followers. So I'm going to ask you guys a question after I just make this comment. So for, what, $600 to $800, you could essentially buy between 550 and 100,000 followers, right? What do you make? Do you guys know what companies pay for a basic piece of content on like TikTok or social or any sort of social media? Where if you're spending 650 just on 50,000 followers, let's say, you'd make that money back and then still get that. And that's what I mean, where there might be an end to it there might be a logic behind it, where if you can spend $650 and make $1,000 on a post, and now you're getting that recognition, the name's out there because now you got a brand promoting your name, and now all of a sudden you open that profile to public and you start getting those legitimate followers. Now, do you guys know what, let's say in our industry, these guys that are doing social media, commercials, whatever they call content, what are they getting paid on like a scale? Like, you don't have to be exact, but like, are they getting paid 500 to 1,000, 200, 2,000 to 4,000?
I think it's more of they're getting paid by, products. A lot of them, I think, are getting paid by using their product for a year. So a company, I know, just for instance,
No. There's got to be a cash value.
I mean, yeah, they're getting some money off of it. I wouldn't doubt that they're getting money off of it, but they're also getting products. I mean, because a lot of these companies, if you look at some of these mower companies like Gravely, Toro, and all that, they want you to use that product. So they want you to go ahead and promote that product. So they're going to send you that product for the year and have you do it. They'll send you a little check here and there, but I don't think it's, hundreds of thousands of dollars just to promote one piece of product. I don't see these companies wanting to do that. They can give you that, $20,000, $30,000 piece of equipment and say, here, use it for a year, use it for the rest of your life. We'll give you, $150 per, ad you put up. Because literally, if you think about it, some of these Instagram posts are like literally 15 to 20 seconds at the least. Okay. And up to, 30 seconds for an ad. For a company to put out that,
I got to jump on you there, because I agree to what you're saying. Again, to a scale, to a smaller influencer on Instagram, I see that. Now, if I'm looking at it as a business point of view, I'm going to go, well, Josh has 10,000 followers. I'm not paying this dude $2,000 to make a piece of content. But again, and I'm not trying to jump on the guy, Brian's Lawn Maintenance.
Right.
This guy's he doesn't have a garage full of backpack loads because he does this. He's making cash value somewhere between everything he's doing, but between him and like other influencers, like I'm sure in the beginning they get value out of getting the equipment, because when you get the free equipment, you hire a guy to use it. That GP grows instantly. But now when you get to the point where it's like, dude, I already got 2 backpack blowers, I got a weed whacker. These guys gave me a mower to use for a year. I get a free CRM. I'm doing this. They're going, where's the cash value on this? I think for a piece of content, for a guy that has over 50 to 100,000, we'll use that as like the scale. I think there's got to be a comma in there somewhere for the content they're creating.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, in my opinion, it's more of like, how much are these companies going to put out to get that ad out? I mean, if you go ahead and think about a normal ad for a business to put out for, any piece of equipment, with them getting a camera crew and all that stuff there, they're probably putting out, $20,000, $30,000, for, to make an ad. Okay. Plus then you post it, you're talking 5,000 each time you're posting it.
But that's the difference. So out here, and I know this because we did it at a shop I worked at in the past, it was $20,000 for a Comcast commercial that ran for 60 seconds during the Bruins game. So $20,000 for a production. Now you're talking a guy shows up with a Nikon camera, a guy behind him that knows how to get it, and some editing software. It's costing that company like what, 10% of what they would charge for that commercial, it would cost them to run that commercial. Just the ROI for a company to pay an influencer $2,000 to $5,000 is a fraction of the cost of what it would cost for them to actually produce. And I think that's why they do it. It's because in-house costs go down. It's the same thing as if you're doing an irrigation system, and rather than do it in-house, you can make the same exact profit by subbing it out, you're gonna go sub it out and use your guys on another job, because you're not gonna look at an overall job. You're gonna look at an overall day and say, rather than making 25 GP, I just made 42% GP because I had my crew on a job here and a job here, and they're doing the same thing. So I think that's why they go after, and that's the pressure from these guys to say, hey, listen, I need to get to that 10,000 mark. I'll let you guys chat, but I'm gonna look up right now. I want to see what the ROI is for companies that market on TikTok.
Okay, I just kind of looked up on Google, just to throw this out to you guys. Google says Instagram influencers for that produce have 1 million influencers get it in a range from 5,000 to 2,000 per post.
Wow.
Per post.
Yeah.
And we're saying what? A post isn't a reel, because a reel can go a couple minutes.
Right. Reel can go, I think now, like maybe a minute or minute and a half. And I think they upped it up. I can't remember what they upped it up to.
Companies are gonna judge you based on what your quality is on these posts as well too. So like, it's exposure. Like if you have 1 million followers and your content is crap, no one's gonna want to.
Absolutely.
Hire you. You know what I mean? But I think also too, the tables have turned. Like, you take a guy like Brian's Lawn Maintenance, again, just using him as an example. He has become the sponsor that these companies are the ones that want him to follow them.
And that's where I'm just gonna kick off real quick. And that's the point I was trying to make, where these companies only get so far. So like, they get a free ride with him in the beginning, where it's like, hey, he's getting blowers, he's getting weed whackers, and all of a sudden a bulb goes off in his head and says, wait a second, you're giving me a $600 blower when you're probably making millions in revenue off my name. Go ahead, Si.
Well, guys like that have bigger followings than the actual companies. So it's the companies that seek these people now, as opposed to you trying to build your following and having that, building that base. But it's all, like, again, it's how you utilize it, right? If you have that resource, if you have your followers, and you're buying them, but you're not putting work to do quality content. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. No one, they're not going to want to hire you if you're not putting out great content.
Yeah.
What do you guys think what's the stepping stone for building social media? So like, JC, I know for a while you came out of nowhere on YouTube and Instagram and like made an impact. I don't even think you were like even doing lawn care. People were like, dude, that's JC the lawn care guy. Holy shit. Even I was like, who's this guy? Like, what the fuck?
My my balloon kind of deflated a little bit. And I'm
assuming you didn't follow through with it at that point.
And that's it. I didn't think I was, and again, I was not large by any means, but I wasn't ready for that. Like I know I came in kind of hot, and when I started getting that following, and it was like, man, now I have a responsibility because people are expecting more content. And I was in a position to be like, well, I'm capable and able to give those followers, more posts, more content, more stuff like that. So that's why it kind of dwindled down to the point where it is now. But man, when I began, and it's no advice, it's just, I stumbled across it. I started following people. I started commenting on people's posts. I started liking a lot of like just random people, like small accounts. I didn't focus on the big ones. I didn't focus on Gravely. I didn't focus on Walker. I didn't focus on Toro. I found like small landscape companies, and I started bombing their likes, and then doing the same thing over and over again with those guys, and they do it right back to me, and we kind of exchange it that way. And I think people were saying, well, who's this JC guy who's bombarding my post, that is liking my post, my content? So I'd get those followers back in return. And then I started building the content. So people started seeing that, I started to put stuff out there. And then it might not be a recommended thing, but when I went to the expo, I started just putting out content for companies without even asking them. So for example, I'll bring up Turf Care Supply. And it was because it was a product that I actually used and recommended myself. So I just post up, hey, I use this product, Turf Care Supply, Lime. And then they started seeing that I started putting content for them. And then in theory, that kind of became you know, a way, you know, a knock on the door in which we started working together, and started kind of helping each other out. Now I started gaining some of their followers. They started gaining my followers, and that turned to other companies. I ventured around. I dabbled here and there. You know, I did some kind of commercial stuff.
Did they pay you for anything?
No, honestly, no. And sometimes, and I know that it seems like, you know, you better get paid for what you're putting out there, but sometimes you can't get paid right out the gate. You can't get paid right away. Sometimes you have to do those things, and then that opens up an opportunity for you to get paid by somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Do you wish you it from I mean, just because I know that was obviously a few years ago you started with them, right?
Yeah.
Do you wish that maybe you had negotiated a little bit to have more of an advantage, like financially or for product wise, or would you have just done it the same way?
I don't regret it, because I think it helped me get my name out there, and I think it opened up some other opportunities. But I think later on down the line, as it kind of continued, maybe I should have been. I also came into it with no knowledge, you know. But maybe I should have kind of, you know, made some kind of arrangement when it came to that. But I don't regret it by no means, and I still use their products, and I still like their products, and I'd still promote it, you know, if it's something that I think people are interested in using, you know. And I still to this day am not been getting paid. I've been getting products, you know. They've definitely helped me out. They've definitely taken care of me. They definitely sent stuff to me. That's no secret. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that I was really big enough to start there yet. But I mean, at some point you do have to start, and you definitely have to value yourself and see what you're doing for them, because I think they're definitely winning more so than you are when you do things like that, you know.
That's one of, for me, like, obviously you guys know my stance on like the whole influencer thing, but and that's the split with me. My beef with influencership isn't what the products they're pushing, right? Like that's your money. I get that. Like, either you're gonna get used by these big ass corporations, and they're gonna use your name to send you like weed whacker line oils, or you're gonna get paid. My beef was always just with the educational value. You know, like someone that doesn't do this is teaching you how to do it. That was always my beef.
So let me ask you this, Josh. If you've seen an ad, okay, and it was by one of these influencers, and then you've seen an ad by let's say Gravely or whatever, okay, would you buy it from an influencer, or would you go and buy it from just watching the regular Gravely ad? That's more what, or would you buy it from the guy like me that's just saying, hey man, I've used this piece of equipment for 10 years. I stand behind it because I know the ins and outs of it. So who would you go with?
So with me, right? And I long answer short, I would go with a guy like you. I would go with the guy that I know has been doing it for a long time. That yeah, you might be getting paid, but like, you know, I feel like you're gonna give your honest answer. My thing is, so when I see commercialized influence marketing, right? The Spencers, the Keith Kalfuses, the Brian's Lawn Maintenance, I balk at their products. They might look cool, but again, at the same time, there's money being passed around. Like, they're paid to do it. They don't have to like it. You think half the famous people in the world like the shit they promote? No, they get paid millions of dollars to do it. Shit, you do. You throw $100,000 at me, I'm gonna be like, dude, buy a Gravely lawnmower. They're the best things ever. Fuck everybody else. But no, I for me personally, I would second guess what they're pushing, just because if they push so much product. Like, if I've never heard you say, hey, this thing sucks, I'm gonna go, you know, you don't have the peer to really give me an honest opinion on what you're using, then why am I going to listen to you? What I'm going to do is go in and say, hey, this guy Scott, you know, he's recommending this mower, boom, and I'm going to go look at your other videos and say, okay, wait, this dude actually has social proof of what he does. He runs a company. Oh, wow, he's been doing the videos from 9 years ago. He's been doing this for 9 years. And I look at that. But if all of a sudden I go on, and for me personally, if I'm seeing the big flashy letters on your post for your what are those called, bullet points or whatever,
Yeah,
whatever they called. I'm going, that's commercialized. That's not for me. But no, I mean, dude, even now when I see like you see like, you know, an NFL player like pushing a natural supplement, like usually it's all right, dude. You're getting paid like $3 million to come push this. Like
People
I'm
could
gonna
smell
eat.
bullshit a mile away.
Well, dude, a lot of it, like consumer, you got to do your due diligence and research the shit. You know what I mean? These guys are here to put the name to it. Because how many people watch Brian's Lawn Mate? Dude, I'm not going to charge this kid for saying his name like 10 times during this fucking show. Probably like, yeah,
We're
this
gonna
guy
make you
hates
have to take a
influencers
drink
dropping
every
my name.
time, and we're gonna get you drunk by the end of the show.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, think about it. He is the face of lawn care. You know, I mean, he's done a good job marketing himself. I forget where I was going with that last one, but I mean, you got to figure the guy has, I don't know, few thousand followers, if not like 100,000 followers across the platforms. He has a face. So when you have a younger generation that's like, oh shit, this guy is on a Gravely, I'm buying that. That's the whole idea behind marketing. You know,
Right.
you think Victoria's Secret, like Giselle Bundchen, she was the face of Victoria's Secret. You know, Tom Brady, the TB12. You know, if someone else was pushing TB12, would you buy it? No. You know, it's. I just use those two because those are two top prominent people that market for a company. Granted, that's his, but Victoria's Secret's its own. She was the face of it for a while. So you bought it like, holy shit, like, you know, the biggest supermodel in the world is pushing that. I'm buying that. You know, like, dude, again, I know you had the dude from Cujo on. Cujo, for me, is the ugliest fucking shoe there is. But you guys wear those things like they're like Jordans back in 1999, and it's the first day of school. And I'm like, man, like talk about marketing presence right there. Like people know how to push that shit, you know?
It's just about comfortability. I mean, I've tried a lot
I
of other
get it, dude,
stuff,
but
and
I need to fit.
you know,
You look good, you feel good.
But that's a perfect example, you know, because like I don't own a pair of those sneakers. But if I was ever interested in buying it, I don't think I'd buy it if someone with 100,000 followers would say, "Hey, buy these shoes." Like I'd reach out to someone like Scott and be like, "Hey, hit him on the DM, get more personal. Hey, how are these shoes worked out for you?" Like I ask a lot of questions, like to most of the people that I kind of communicate with, or easily approachable. You know, you get someone with 100,000 followers, you can't ask them a question. You just got to take their word for what the product is, and it might not be. It's obviously number one. I don't think it's going to be. I don't trust it. You know, I don't. I don't. I see a commercial. I don't trust it. That's why people have reviews. That's why people go on Amazon. Even those reviews you can't even trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
people get paid
right.
for putting false reviews on. So I want to be able to talk with somebody who I know uses it, like you said, Josh, on the field and could give me their honest opinion, even if they're sponsored by the company. You know, so they'd be like, "Hey, yeah, you know, I'm sponsored by them, but you know, I'd probably do. I don't like this about it, you know." And they'll be honest. Hopefully, they'll be honest with you.
Right. I mean, I kind of more look at it like when I'm doing a video for somebody, a product review for somebody, I'm gonna use that product for the whole year before I can make my good, approach on what's gonna happen to it. Because to me, it's not about taking the product right out of the box, reading the info and saying, "Hey, this is gonna do this. This is gonna do this for you." I recommend that it's gonna do that. Now, I have to go through and even the stuff that I have demoed for other people, I tell them I'm going to beat the crap out of it. I'm going to throw it out of the truck. I'm going to, try to run it over if I can run it over or destroy it. Because really, to me, if it can withstand my way of destroying something or how I beat the crap out of it or how some guys are going to beat the crap out of it, then hey, that's more information that I can put out to a customer to say, hey, this is what's going to happen to this piece of equipment or this shoe or any product and give you the actual what happens throughout a year to it than to just say, hey, I got this piece of equipment, it's going to be the best piece of equipment you ever buy, so go buy it now. I'm not going to be that way.
I got two questions for both of you guys. The first one, have you ever gone out your way for a company and not gotten anything back in return for doing what you did for them? The second question is, how do you separate yourself from someone that's seeking maybe a sponsorship from a company as from those individuals that just want free stuff? Because these companies get inundated with requests. So like when you're seeking that sponsorship or whatever, on a product you believe, how do you put yourself out there so that you mean, maybe potentially get a chance of being sponsored? So again, the first question is, which I forgot. Have you ever gone out of your way for a company to promote, like kind of a promoter product, and then not gotten anything in return from them after all the effort was placed?
Josh, you want to answer first, or?
I mean, again, I don't. You guys would have more experience with this than I would. I'm only active on social media for the past like 4 years, and I don't put a big press on it. To answer the first question, no. So the only businesses I've worked with have been Echo and Jobber, and Echo has done their thing. I've given fair reviews. I mean, I've told them I've sent them product reviews where some of their products were trash, and that's just what it was. With Jobber, I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. They didn't. When I went in, it was weird because it was a transition between the leadership in that ambassador program. But yeah, no, I really don't. Anybody I've worked with that's really worked out in that sense, the two people. And then what was the second question again? Sorry.
How do you separate yourself from trying to gain a sponsorship from those individuals that are just inundating them and asking them just for free stuff? Like, how do you separate yourself from those individuals and stand out?
Again, like if I sat here today and I was going to make a business plan out of like, all right, I want to try to make some coin out of social media marketing, influence marketing. Social proof is a big thing, and I think you guys can smell bullshit, if I'm sitting there and just making stuff up and saying I'm doing this and that. Showing what I do on a daily is huge. I think I would probably go the vlogger way of showing my daily, like Jensen, like when we were talking about what type of content to do for the winter, like you mentioned, like day in a life of a snowplower, and then it really shows you that side, like, oh shit, this dude's getting up, putting shoes on, walking out, blah, blah, blah. Social proof, and then honesty in what you're getting. Like, I feel like I'd rather see one of these dudes blow a $10,000 sponsorship, or not even blow it, but blowing it meaning like they get paid for it, and then like the company doesn't go back because they give an honest review and say, hey, listen, this new Walker mower sucks. Like for 25 grand, don't bother. Go buy 3 other Exmark mowers and take it there until they shape up. I would respect that more, and I think you'd get more of a following. I think like common sense would say yes, but then like the swarms of like the whole social media aspect just take over. But I think social proof is a big thing.
What about you, Scott?
Have I gone out of my way for anything to get equipment or whatever? No, I have not really gone out of my way. I've worked with, I work with Cujo, I work with Fence Armor, I work with I did Turf Care, I kind of worked with them, did that event for them. And Echo and EMB. I've really never gone out of my way for anything. Like kind of like Josh said, social wise, I've only been in here as long as I've been in the EMB program, which has been about 5.5 years. So I don't actively seek free stuff. I'm not that kind of person that's looking for free stuff. It's more of like, I don't think it's the same thing like Josh said. Proof is kind of showing what you do, putting it to the work, and taking your time with the product and actually investigating everything you're going to use out of it. Kind of like a weed whip line. If I get a weed whip line, I'm going to use that whole 5 pounds of weed whip line, and then I might go through more before I even actually say this is the best weed whip line I've ever had. It's not more of like I can't use it for 5 minutes and be like, yeah, this is the best thing I have. Yeah, I've tested many equipment and ran it for 5 minutes. Yeah, it might feel good, driving it for 5 minutes, but how's it going to feel like a month from now? How's it going to feel a year from now? You don't know till you actually are on it. And whatever product I'm going to put out there, I'm going to take pictures and social, posts on it in the field and what happens to it. I think my shoes, when I had Cujo's, the first time I had the shoes from them, I took it out and I literally hit it with a shovel, literally within the first week, and, cracked that little top part and was like, hey, just to let you know, buddy, I took a shovel and it hit, and it shouldn't hit, should it? And he was like, no, it shouldn't. So I'll send you a new pair. You know, he goes, thanks for letting me know, because literally that's something that these companies want to know. They want to know the feedback. They don't, yeah, that it's, I think, most of the time it's about getting the people to follow them to buy that piece of a product, but they also want to know the feedback. And for me, it's more about giving the feedback and telling you how it's going to be than anything else.
I could have a full podcast episode on my relationship with Turf Care Supply. And I want to straight up and say that I have a great relationship with them still to this day. And I'll go back and saying, like, when I first saw them at GIE, they had a little small booth. And then I think people that follow me know throughout the years how that's kind of grown, where we've had like booth takeovers and we've had online things, and which was great. It was fun. It helped me connect with a lot of other people. So I'm very thankful for that. Right now, I wouldn't say that it has been as big as it was before in the past, but I'm willing to still, obviously, again, I still use their products. I still recommend their products. I still love their products. And I think I still have a great relationship with them by no means. But yeah, man, in the beginning, when I first, going back to like growing your following and stuff like that, marketing, man, I was doing simple things. I was making stickers. I was sending stickers in the mail. I just did that like a whole day, just sending out to different people, DMing different people. And, people started posting the stickers that I'd sent to them. And then people would follow me and people would DM me. People would ask me for stickers, and stickers are cheap. I spent some money on it, but stickers were cheap. And that was just an example of how to kind of reach out. It's not just online by clicking. You could actually do some physical things to gain more followers and gain more access that way. And that was one of the things that I did, not knowing how well that would have worked out. That worked out for me, and it did. And I'm still to this day, people sending me requests for stickers, and I feel bad because I haven't made any in a long time. And I'm like, when I get some new ones, I'll send them out to you. I mean, I've sent out stickers to Australia, to Ireland, to like Germany. Like it's crazy, like how much people follow you from around. These are legit lawn and landscape people. John's Lawns, I think you guys know him. He was one of the first ones to reach out to me, and it was pretty cool seeing that he posted my sticker on his account. And that,
that's the Irish dude, right, over in Ireland.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. And I had the pleasure to meet him because he's come down to the expo, I think, once or twice. But yeah, man, it's a huge community. But you don't have to overcomplicate it. There's a lot of people that try too hard. And again, going back to buying those followers, they try too hard by spending money, but they're not willing to do the work. It's like having a nice lawn. Everybody wants a nice lawn, but people aren't willing to put the work and effort into it to get that nice lawn.
I want to just kind of clear the air. I'm sitting here thinking, and people listening to this podcast might go, well, these guys are haters. They don't know what's involved with producing this content for these companies and blah, 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 blah. And no, we get that. Like we do the shit too. Like we make content for our channels or for our businesses. The point that we're making is that like the validity of what you're talking about, like, it's not that you don't put the effort in, but like, if you're just whoring yourself out and going after every company, that's more what we're getting at. We're like, do you actually use the product you're marketing or not? And I think a good example of this, like one of the first people, again, same thing with Scott, right? I didn't start really using social media, YouTube, until I got on the EMB program, right? Then I went on YouTube because I was like, all right, let me see what all this is about. And one of the first people I started watching was Stanley Genetic, the Dirt Monkey. Love that dude. My type of my trade, right? And he, for a while, I would sit there and say, man, this guy's a whore. Like, he's just taking every product there is possible. But like, I started realizing, like, the guy actually gives legitimate, like, nope, trash, don't like it, doesn't fit right, doesn't do this, doesn't work, wouldn't use it again. And I like that because at the same sense, like, he is taking every penny he can get. I don't blame him, but he's also giving positive feedback. So when you bring a product to him, that shit better be right. You better be ready to get negative feedback. And I think a lot of places aren't ready to get negative feedback. And I think a lot of influencers or people that are trying to get into that walk of life don't understand that. Like, dude, give your positive feedback. Because you know what? Once I hear one or two of you going like, JC sent me, his lawn care fertilizer package, and no, I wouldn't use it. Like, it did this, this, and this. Like, I prefer to hear that. Like, obviously, everybody knows how to read. Like, if you ever went on Yelp, when the Karens are there and it's negative on everything. But like, if you have a mix of it, and that's what I liked about Genetic, was that it went from like, all right, he's just pushing what the brands are bringing him to the point where the brands are literally bringing the packages to him, and he probably has an expert like, dude, listen, 80 grand if you want me to review this product, and it is what it is. That's what I get out of it, like he's at that point.
It should be, the sentiment should be that these companies should feel that they're gambling. Like you said, bring the best product to him, because if someone like that recommends it, they're going to make out like a bandit because he has such a good following, but you could also in turn, like you said, you might have a negative review by him. Like there are a lot of guys in this community that aren't in the limelight like that out there that would give tremendous advice. And I'm going to call him out, Paul Camara. You get somebody like that guy and you have these
Uncle Paul.
Paul, I hope he's listening. You get a guy like that with the amount of experience he's had in this industry. He doesn't get, I don't believe he gets sponsorships, but if he were to get sponsorships and if he were to put his thoughts behind what he thinks his product, like people would value that so much. Like he's like underground respected in this community. And, most people know who he is, or some people know who he is, but he'd be a guy that if he wanted to turn the switch and make a bigger name out there, he could absolutely do it. And I think it's credibility. The guy has credibility. And I think that's what it all comes down to.
So you want that blue check mark, right?
Listen, for me personally, I'm not lying. Like, if a product guy believing comes to me and says, "Hey, we're going to give you 80 grand to push this product," and they're like, "Yeah, I'm pushing it." Like, I'm not saying no. Like, I'm taking the money, and like I get it. But again, like for me, integrity is a big thing. Like, I want to believe in what I'm using. Like, I don't want to. Excuse me. My reputation's big to me. I don't want Jensen as being a friend of the neighbor, being like, "Hey, dude, use this, and it'll make your life and your business 10 times easier." And he gets it. And he's like, "Dude, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, this thing's a piece of crap. Like, why would he suggest this to me?" And then find out, like, oh, because the dude made $20 off, Josh's fucking 10 or whatever,
I recommended Bagel Time, so that was legit, right?
Hey, dude, you get it. Yeah. Can I use Jensen's 10 in here?
Yeah.
Dude, you want to know what one of the funny things is, right? So there's a boot company, Brunt. I think you guys have all heard of it. Brunt or Bunt? Yeah.
Brunt.
So it's funny. I didn't realize they were North Reading based, which is kind of in my area where I service. So I just kind of sent the thing saying, "Hey, dude, like, wicked cool." I didn't know Wicked. I never use Wicked. Jesus Christ, like, so cool. I'm gonna buy a pair, and like, we'll use them out. And once I sent that message, like, the algorithm took over where, like, everybody, and then all of a sudden I started seeing guys like they must have been reaching out to people. And it's funny, one of my hardscape groups, guys were asking what type about the Brunt boots, and apparently they're having massive issues with quality where, like, they break down in 3 months. So that goes to show you a lot of, I'm not going to say major influencers, but players. I'm going to call them players in the field where, like, they're known. Like, you say their name and they're known. And I don't want to drop their name on this because I don't want to take away anything, but do your research before you get into a product, because apparently in my industry they don't hold up yet, which is they're a failing new company, which I'm sure they have to make some changes. But I mean, things like that, like, hey, we're going to send you new boots, or we're going to give you like $50 or $20, per link that signs in and signs up with you. Because I think even with me with Jobber, the way that it worked in the day was that you had your portal and you made so much money off of what they signed up for. This is the link where it would be like, "Josh, sign up with my link." And like, you made like $5 off one plan, $10 and then $20 off the other. And I think I got like one person to sign up, to be honest with you. I made $5 from Jobber.
It's one person. I mean, I've gotten a couple people back out of it with Jobber. I mean, it's more about it. They give me, a free month or 2 months, and that's, to me, that's fine too. I mean, I'm going to get one person that signs up. That's something I like to use, and
but that's what I was just going to ask you. Do you believe in it? And some of it, like, I think Scott and Jensen recommending a product comes because they want to see other people do well. And if that's helped them in their progress, like, listen, I have my beef with Jobber over certain things. There's certain back end things on the banking and the credit card processing I don't like with Jobber, and I'm in the process of looking elsewhere because of that. But they've made life easier with certain things like the auto follow-up and that stuff. And I know that's generic to like a lot of CRMs, but like stuff like that, like, I've told people, like, they're like, "Damn, like, you can't get in the office." I'm like, Jobbers get that auto follow up. And this isn't pushed. This isn't sponsored by Job. I'm just saying, like certain things, like those would be you're gonna tell people because that's what's helped you. Like I don't see Scott going like, hey, this is gonna be fucking, Blue Chew, come use this.
No, I'm not going to be that. This is going to be you. I mean, they should be sending you the product.
I got some valuable advice for the listeners that are listening to this. And don't say that we never gave you anything informative after I say this. Number one, how does a company that has been trashed regain their reputation? Now, second, what I'll say, I'll give an example. The Waltz mower battery up in flames. That went super viral. So obviously, we all know about that. Now is the time, if you're one of those individuals that is trying to get a sponsorship, they may be more willing to try to sponsor somebody or send them products to regain their reputation, to be given a second chance in theory, so someone could try it out again and say, you know what? Yes, we understand that it went up in flames. It was a flaw. I got this mower. I gave them an opportunity, and it turns out they've made improvements, and now it's a great mower, and they want to rebuild that. So they're a very vulnerable company right now when it comes to their mowers. And if you're in one of those guys, you may want to try to reach out to that company to see if they'll send you something.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, but I feel like they are now having for something that they wanted to push this year to have out and sell. They are now on the back burner trying to redesign and figure out what happened. And for a company to actually step back and say, yeah, we messed up, we need to refigure it out. That's something that just puts, it out there and says, hey, we're going to figure it out before we put it back out there. Some of these other companies will still try to keep pushing that product and say, yeah, oh, that was just a one time. That's not going to happen. But they're actually admitted to it, to saying, hey, we messed up. This shouldn't have happened. We're going to figure out what it is before we even release this. We're going to make sure that this is going to be DeWalt Mower 2.0 before you know it, and it's going to be the right way. So they'll go through and test it the right way, I think, this time. And that's,
it's like if people are old enough, it's the Ford Pinto of mowers.
Yeah.
Google that.
Oh man, you and Ford Pintos. So, okay, guys. So this was a great episode. I hope everybody got some great information on this episode. And hit us up. Put your comments. I know we commented a lot and talked about a lot of stuff. And this is our opinion, guys. And but I think we all gave you some great advice today. So hopefully you guys take it. And I want to thank Josh and JC being on here, and on to the next episode is all I got to say. And keep listening, guys. And thank you guys for listening.